Hey guys, this presentation is about Israel's emergency management. It was made by me, Ron Crudo, a first-year public administration student, and I was actually in Israel when I took this picture. Been there a few times. The presentation is going to cover the history of Israel's emergency management system, the structure of Israel's system, disaster planning and common disasters, participants, obstacles Israel faces, and the transformation of planning and policy. The history of Israel and its emergency management. Israel declared its independence in 1948. It's actually a very young country, only 60 years old. It's known as the Jewish nation state. Israel is actually smaller than New Jersey, with a population of over 8 million people, and is surrounded by 4 Arab countries that are known as threats. Its emergency management is run by civil defense strategies for all disasters. Disaster management is focused around homeland security, and in 1951, civil defense laws were created, surrounded around the strife-induced civil defense system and defense of the rear area, which all focus on evaluating Israel's defense after an attack to work to improve the system. And it started major agencies early on in its existence. The structure of Israel's system. Who's in charge? The military in Israel is the driving force, also known as the Israeli Defense Forces. It runs as a top-down system, with a little bit of confusion because of the military involvement. It's set up as a nation defense, known as the Aga in 1950, and a regional defense, known as Agmar in 1967. It was recently combined in 1977 to make the Makhilar, controlled by the IDF and government. Its two main sectors are now the 1990 IDF Homefront Command and the 2007 National Emergency Authority, which both work to protect Israel from all major disasters. Homefront Command was founded in 1990 and is controlled by the IDF. It is made up of 5 specific units: the ABC, the Extrication Battalion, a National Search and Rescue Unit, Search and Rescue Companies, and a Casualty and Wounded Identification Unit. The National Emergency Authority was founded in 2007 and is controlled by the national government. It's set up to balance all emergency management agencies and help to centralize the country as a whole. Our next section is disaster planning and common disasters. In Israel, planning is affected by natural disasters, warfare, and terrorist attacks. They have kibbutzes, which are fortified settlements around the border that still exist today, and bomb shelters in almost every home and community. Its strategy for planning is strong infrastructure and disaster drills. Some of its more common disasters of warfare and terrorism are like the 1967 War or Yom Kippur War, and natural disasters like earthquakes and wildfires. Now let's move on to participants. The real question is, who isn't a participant? Everyone in Israel is a part of the disaster management process. All civilians join the military and are well trained in homeland security. Some affiliated agencies are the Israeli government, the Israeli Defense Forces, the fire departments, police forces, Magen David Adom, local authorities, and civilian organizations. What are some of the obstacles Israel faces, you might ask? Well, some of its challenges pertain more to its pre-planning and preparation. It only reached 20% of its affected area during its recent earthquake drills, which is some concern. Immediate response can lead to other issues, and they still have many years to develop through. The last section is the transformation of planning and policy in Israel. How has it been shaped? Israel is under a constant change. The civil defense law was created due to a threat. Homefront Command began after the Gulf War, and National Emergency Authority started after the Lebanon War. It continues to change over the years as it is faced with more and more disasters. Israel is known as a leader in disaster management and homeland security around the world, and will continue to be one as it develops its strategies through the years. I hope you guys enjoyed my lesson on emergency management in Israel. Thanks for listening in.